How are you?
Thank you.
Good. Yes, Shiva.
So when I came and I closed my eyes, it was like darkness.
Yeah.
But slowly the darkness went away. I don't know it's much TV, but in the end it was all light.
Okay.
Felt
Good.
Like the difficulties are gone and
Very good. Anyone else? Sugandha, you want to share anything?
I was just trying to bring my mind back and I was counting, so that was helping while I
Was going to Kolkata? Where was it going? No?
Wherever it was going, I was trying to bring it back by
Okay.
counting the mantras as well. So
Sure. I forgot to tell. Usually I count, so you don't need to count. I count and I stop when we're supposed to count. So from next time, you can just focus on just the mantras and yeah.
it was more than 20 minutes.
Yeah. Good. It's better more, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, anyone else? It's first time for you, I guess?
Yeah.
Want to share anything?
I think when I was standing, I was just seeing stars.
Okay.
I couldn't open, of course, but I was just seeing stars. So it took me a couple of seconds to just come back and
Okay.
see everything normally.
Okay.
That's what I felt.
Okay. Yes. Ajay, how was it for you?
Yeah, it was in the beginning hard to get into it.
Yeah.
When getting into it, it's a feeling of relaxation and a feeling of satisfaction.
Okay. Anyone else? To share? Sarthak, how was yours? It was good? You came late? Okay. Sure. So, this is what we do. In the beginning, we do a lot of mantras so that we can come to an equilibrium. Goal is to be there in that space continuously, because life is a continuum. It is not a fragmented division which we all live in somehow. And our goal in life is to be in this space which we created throughout. It's difficult, for sure, but with practice, our hope is that eventually we'll reach that sort of consciousness wherein we are constantly this sort of equilibrium. See, at the end of the day, when we are really in tune with the mantras, many of the things start becoming less important. I don't know if you felt that. In the beginning, perhaps mind is just agitated with so many things which are going on. But as you go ahead, as you put yourself into the flow, eventually mind does become peaceful. Right? That's the beauty of the whole practice of meditation. It really doesn't matter whether you are a practitioner of spirituality, whether you are an atheistic person, or whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian, or doesn't matter. If you start focusing on the breath and repeating the mantras, your mind does become peaceful. And this is like research proven. At some point of time in my career, I was working for a company and developing meditation assistance devices. So you can hold this device and bring it to the session one day maybe. And it captures your breathing rate and your heart rate. Right? And we had established scientifically that if you just keep doing meditation, your heart functionality, your blood pressure, the amount of oxygen which you inhale, which ultimately controls everything else in your life, life in general becomes better. It's just very simple. So that's our request, that maybe you can take this home and not just once a week, but make it as a daily practice if it's possible. So after our initial discussion, what we do usually is a little bit of philosophical discussions, brainstorming, more of a group effort and not just me speaking. And because we are just starting up, it's been a situation wherein every week we have been having different people who are coming in, just sort of still settling in. I think Sugandha is the highest. You came, this fourth time you're coming, I guess? Third time? Okay. Yeah. So, many people who are first timers, the second time for you, right? Yeah. So, try to keep it a bit generic today, because otherwise it's perhaps not going to sync at all if I continue from what I was discussing last week. My request is that please try to come every week so that you can then have a flow. Discussion can be in a more homogeneous free flow format. But what we can discuss today is something which is basic to the knowledge construct, how Vedic tradition looks at knowledge. Right? What exactly is knowledge? How is it fundamentally different from the modern education system which we are undergoing or have undergone, and what we have learned, whatever so far in our lives. So, to detail, there is in the Upanishads. This is Vedic scriptures. Upa means right next, like how we are sitting now, next to each other. Right? Upanishad is like a mother who is sitting next to you and trying to teach you. Right? They're extremely philosophical dialogues which are recorded long ago, and they deal with philosophy in a little abstract way than, for example, Srimad Bhagavatam, which we were discussing last week, which is a bit more direct. It tells stories, for example. Right? So, what we're going to discuss today is from an Upanishad called as Taittiriya Upanishad. There is discussion between a father and a son. The father's name was Varuna. Can you recite this name? Varuna. The son was Bhrigu. Yeah. So, Bhrigu, just like perhaps when we were kids also, we went to our parents and used to ask like, how is this, how is that, what is this, what is that. Right? So he comes to his father and asks, Father, what's the absolute truth in life? Because everything, whatever I say, seems to be very temporary. What is that which is absolute in nature? You understand what is absolute? There is something called as relative. Relative is, for example, how Sarthak looks today. Right? 20 years ago, Sarthak didn't look like this. Sarthak has changed now. So Sarthak's appearance changes with time. That's relative. Right? How Sarthak looks like is a function of time. You come after 20 years more, maybe it look different. So bodies change. Buildings change. Right? This is existing today. You come after 50 years, perhaps it's not going to, maybe is there, maybe in a different shape or a form. After 100 or 500 years, definitely it's not going to be there. Maybe there's something else in this place. Right? So Bhrigu tells his father, I see everything which is temporary, but there must be something which is absolute, that which does not change. Okay? What is it? So the father, rather than telling the answer, he tells the son, why don't you go and figure it out? It's basically science. So Vedic tradition implies or instructs you to be a seeker, not in a way that, I just went, I opened Gita, this is what is written in the Gita, this is a book, and you follow. No. That's not how Vedic traditions are built. The knowledge construct is not like that. Because even at the end of Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, I have told you everything, whatever I had to tell, it's up to you now. Do whatever you like. Right? It's not that you have to just do what I say. So that freedom is given to the seeker. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense, right? In a real scientific path, the researcher need to have some independence. What all I can explore. Yeah, there is a top level, open-ended question, but then you can also go and explore yourself. It's a who is talking with whom? Spot quiz. Bhrigu is talking with Varuna. The question is, what is absolute truth? And the answer was, just go and figure out. Yeah? Please go and figure out. I'll help you if you need. Please go and figure out. So Bhrigu went and started doing his research. And we were discussing this last time. So the sages were also referred as rishis. Their research was a bit different research than how modern research happens. Modern research happens in the laboratory with instruments. These sages, these scientists, they used to do their research in a little different manner. They used to do what's called as tapasya, meaning just sit down, start meditating, absorb yourself in meditation so much that eventually you're going to find the answer. Right? Because ultimately, even science agrees that everything is because of the sound. Sound is what which is creating the entire creation. So they would just absorb themselves, not just for a few minutes how we did today. It was difficult for us, right? We are seeing stars, we are saying, mind is going away. It's really difficult for us to just do for a few minutes. But if we continue to do it, eventually mind will become peaceful, mind will agree to you, and eventually you can start exploring further dimensions than what is just visible outside. Yeah? So Bhrigu started that. And after deep research, he comes back after a long time and tells, Father, I figured it out. Answer was that? He tells, Anna or grains, translated in Sanskrit, is the foundation, that's the absolute truth. This is what sustains every living entity in this creation. It's the food. That's the absolute truth. Right? Because if there is no food, nobody can exist. So that Anna is the Brahman, is the reality. Everything else is temporary. Father tells, good job, very good, great first shot, but please go and put little more efforts into your research, come back afterwards. So Bhrigu went and started meditating again. What could be that which is absolute? Comes back and tells, yes, Father, now I have improved my hypothesis a little bit. I believe it's the prana, the air which you inhale. That's the absolute truth. If that's not there, there is no life. So first one was Anna, second is prana, the life air. It's the absolute truth. Varuna tells, good, put little more effort. So Bhrigu goes away again. Then comes back and tells, I have an improved answer now. It's the mind, it's the mana. That's the absolute truth. Because it's ultimately your mind which creates. Right? How many of us have experience of dreams? Everyone? Sure, you don't have experience of dreams? You have, right? Everyone experienced dreams. Anybody want to share what is the recent dream which you had? Just quick, in 10 seconds. Yes, Shubham?
I failed exam.
You failed an exam. Usually from India, we have our torturous upbringing with so many exams. Yeah, I also keep getting that dream. You're preparing for an exam and so you somehow they are up here late or you don't know anything and such trauma in mind. Yeah. So when you are going through that, it's real, isn't it? You feel it full. It's for the sake of discussion, let's take now Shubham, who is dreaming about him appearing for an exam. He has entire examination hall set up, right? In the dream, there are teachers there who are giving exams. He is getting the question papers. He's trying to answer. Maybe he's getting the answers. He's not getting the answer, but it's extremely real, right? It's not realistic. This is real. You experience it exactly how it would have been if you're in that situation, right? Yes or no? Yeah. But the thing is, it's just Shubham who is sleeping. He is not sleeping with all his classmates and teachers and he's just one person who is sleeping. But his mind is creating an entire setup. Right? The entirety of classroom is set up in exactly the way it's supposed to be, right? But it's just his mind. So that was Bhrugu's conclusion. Ultimately, it's the mind which is creating. Yeah? It's chitta in Sanskrit. So it's chitta, that which creates the forms. Everything, whatever we have now, is ultimately transformation of chitta. Chitta has transformed. So a teaching here is that whatever you desire now, whatever your mind is just contemplating all the time, that's what you're going to become eventually. Maybe in this life, maybe next life. Okay? So every single life form is as a transformation of chitta. So Bhrugu's answer was, the mind. That's the truth. The father tells, good, put little more efforts. Yeah. So Bhrigu goes, does research again, and after a while comes back and tells, I have improved now. Next stage, I believe it's the realized knowledge, not just theoretical knowledge. In Sanskrit this is called as vijnana. Can you repeat? Vijnana. Yeah. Jnana is just knowledge. Vijnana is that which is realized. That is absolute truth. His father tells, yes, put one more effort, little more. Then Bhrigu comes back in at the end and tells, it's Ananda, it's the bliss. That's the absolute truth. And ultimately, that's where everything rests. Ananda. So first one was Anna, food. Second one was Prana, life air. Third one was Mana, mind, chitta. Fourth one was Vijnana, realized knowledge. The fifth one was Ananda. Because that's where ultimately everybody is trying to go forward. Last week we had a discussion about how everything is not random. Right? Because majority of life, majority of people, including an ant, is trying to be happy. Right? We had a discussion on, based on the definition of probability and random events and what exactly is an equally probable event. How do you define probability? We had a good discussion. You should hear it, maybe in the recordings last week's. So we proved in a very statistical, mathematical manner how the entire world, nothing is random really. If it was random, half of the world's population should have been thinking, I want to suffer. It's not like that. Majority of life, majority of people, majority of animals, majority of smallest ants, they want to be happy. I don't know if you have seen ants crawling around with a grain of sugar on the head. They take their sugar on the head and then carry it. So please come from the back. There's also a door there. So that's something which we need to really understand. Right? We are not seeking to be suffering. We are seeking to be happy. Everyone is seeking to be happy, not just few people. There must be a plane of existence which is just happiness. Yeah? Must be. Otherwise things don't make sense. So that was conclusion of Bhrigu. You see now, before I give some more, anyone want to share about what you think about this? This is, again, as I said, is a discussion which is going on in Taittiriya Upanishad. This is technically called as Panchakosha Vidya, 5 different aspects of growth of consciousness. The beginning, we are just thinking about food. And there is a baby, and it's born. We have a newborn now. Anything which comes near is just a food, right? Consciousness is really not evolved much, but we are not too different. That's how we also think. Right? We're really not that different. We may think, no, I think of advanced something, I think of some gadgets, but still, it's about how do I enjoy. Right? That's where we get stuck. So Mahabharata tells Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya and Maithuna, these 4 are constant across all living entities. The desire to enjoy food, companionship, sleeping, the whole desire of protecting myself, defending myself, these are common. Anyway, any thoughts? Anybody want to share anything? What you learned? What is this called as again? Spot quiz? Panchakosha. Pancha is 5, and there were 5 levels, right? How Bhrigu increased his consciousness, evolved in his consciousness. Panchakosha Vidya is just teaching. Yes?
How did Bhrigu come to the conclusion that Ananda is absolute? Because if we look around, then we see that it's temporary.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. That must be a place or a situation or a consciousness or an existence where it never ends. And you can enter that only when you're qualified. It's like you may want to enter MIT for going and doing a PhD in AI, but just because you want it, you will not get it. If you're qualified, you can get entrance, right? So similarly, there is a state of existence, a state of consciousness, which is just pure bliss. Now that Bhrigu actually entered eventually with his practice of spirituality and meditation. Then he realized that. So in the beginning he was in the lowest level, and he gradually increased. And it's not just he's theoretically coming and telling, he is actually experiencing it. Right? So when he reached the topmost level, he knows, oh wow, this is the state of existence, which is really not a temporary one anymore.
Apart from life, then there's nature and there's death.
Yes.
These are also absolute consciousness.
No, they also change.
I mean, like life and death has to happen.
Yes, but they're not absolute in the sense that there is the end of it, right? They're just, we discussed this last week also, they're just temporary change of circumstances. Somebody is undergoing one existence now, place changes. Like I gave this example many times, that I was living in India at some point of time. I changed my existence from India to go to US. And I was living in US, and then from there I changed my existence from there to Amsterdam. Now I'm in Amsterdam since last 6 years. So situations are changing. The way where I'm put, that changes. Whom I'm interacting, that changes, right? So just like changes are happening in this life, death is a change in which there is a change in circumstances. So you get a new set of parents, a new set of friends, a new set of everything else. But it's not, death is not okay, there's an absolute end, no. Right? It's just change in circumstances. Same as birth. Right? So Krishna tells in Gita, if there is one thing which is constant after birth, it's death. It's going to come. And after that, it's going to birth again. It's not like, there's end, total, done. So life is that's what I was telling in the beginning also, it's a continuum. It's not like one time event. There is a beginning of life and there is an end of life. No. It's the meaning of eternity. Eternity means that which is forever. That which never gets over. That's the meaning of eternity. So this description of the dialogues which happened between Bhrigu and Varuni, they're also technically referred in the Upanishads as Bhargavi Varuni Vidya, right? Panchakosha Vidya or Bhargavi Varuni Vidya. Yes, you want to share something? Go ahead.
I wanted to ask a follow-up question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, is this the final answer from the son, and did the father?
Yes, he was satisfied with it.
He was satisfied with this answer.
Yes, yeah. Because as such, who we are truly, and for us it becomes very theoretical now because we are not in the level of Bhrigu. We did not put any efforts in going and doing our own research. So this is a theoretical answer or a theoretical discussion then. But Atma, who we are truly, it's composed of, just like body is composed of matter. There is blood, bones, what else? Muscles, chemicals, right? So many different things which are making the body. Similarly, Atma, or who we are, also has its own composition. Yeah. The composition is, first one is, it's eternal. In Sanskrit this is called as Sat, that which is eternal. It's conscious. In Sanskrit this is referred as Chit. Yeah. Sat and Chit. It's eternal, conscious. The third dimension of it is Ananda. Right? The Sat, Chit and Ananda. It's eternally blissful and conscious. That's what is Atma. Right? So now the entire goal of life is somehow or the other now, we are in a predicament where it's the opposite of it, what we experience. We experience temporariness. We experience lack of consciousness, very dull, and we just seek happiness. There's this drive towards happiness, but it is like an ant which is just going around the surface of a honeybee, a bee jar. There is honey, and inside the jar there is honey, but it's locked from the top. So if there is an ant which is just seeing the honey but has no access to honey, that's how we have been. And we keep thinking that, next iPhone is going to make me happy. The next disc is going to make me happy. The next house is going to make me happy. Right? The next relationship is going to make me happy. That's how we keep thinking. And very soon we realize, no, that's not what's going to make me happy. I want something else. Right? So there's a drive towards it. And we fail to reach there every time. And there is only one way in which we can experience that, and that way is we actually become spiritual. As long as we are materially contaminated, materially conditioned, it's just a good wish that I want to be spiritual then. So to become spiritual, I need to actually start exercising, I need to start going towards spirituality. I need to actually put some efforts towards that. It can't be just, I just think about it. Once in a week I sit on my armchair and I have a nice sofa in my house. I just keep thinking about it. It's how to make it. Yeah? And to put some efforts. Exactly like how a researcher is trying to find an answer for a research question. They need to actually go to the laboratory and start doing something. Right? Cannot be just thinking. Do something about it. So that's what is spiritual life. It's very active. I need to put efforts in reaching there. And that happiness which is elusive right now, which just seems like I'm so close but not there yet. And somehow we find that happiness in temporary material things. So in Vedic tradition there is a nice story. There was a donkey. The donkey in traditional Indian culture is used to do a lot of work basically. And then the owner of the donkey, he tied a carrot to the head, right, with a stick. And imagine there is a donkey. You all know what is a donkey? Right? Imagine a stick and the carrot hanging from the stick. So a donkey, which is also not considered a very intelligent animal as such, just keeps thinking, I take one more step, I get the carrot. It just doesn't get the point that the moment it takes a step, and the carrot also moves one more step, right? Every time it takes a step, carrot is further away. But the donkey never gets this. Just keeps walking and is carrying all the load. Right? At the end of the journey, the owner just gives the carrot. Yeah, good job. Right? So that's how our mind is also functioning right now. We think, yeah, one more thing. I achieved this much just here, and I'll be happy. One more step. And I go here. That's not really. That was not it. I need one more thing. So consistently, we just keep upgrading our definition of what is true happiness. However,
would that not have been a more appropriate answer from Varun to his son?
In terms of what?
Like you said, if Ananda going from one thing to another, that just leads to more suffering.
Yes.
So would that not have been a more appropriate?
No, so that's not Ananda, right? Ananda is, this we discussed. My humble request is that please go back to the recordings which we have. We discussed what is Ananda in one of our previous sessions. Ananda means a state, once you attain, you don't come back.
Understood.
Yeah, this is not a state wherein it's temporary happiness. What we get out of iPhone 16, perhaps next month, is not Ananda. Yeah, it's not Ananda. It's just a temporary cessation of, yeah, I really, really wanted it, and then, yeah, I got it.
So,
Yeah.
so when he meant Ananda, he meant a constant
Yes,
state of happiness.
yes,
So that's basically
yes, yes,
almost complete.
yes. Not almost, fully,
Yeah.
right? 100%, just there. And somebody who achieves that, they don't come down. Right? And that's the whole drive for humans as per this conversation. Where one should be putting efforts is not towards some temporary situations. Don't try to unnecessarily waste human energy in something which can be achieved in other forms of life. And that was the whole dialogue. Because being happy with circumstances, it's there. But if you really want eternal, fully conscious happiness level, you can be equipped with that infrastructure. Right? This form of existence can enable that. So that technically is referred as Nara. Right? Is loosely translated as human, but human, from the modern anatomy is mostly how a species looks like. Right? But in Vedic tradition, it's not about how one looks like. That has not much significance. What really matters is how is the consciousness. If the consciousness is put towards or focused towards getting to this absolute truth, that person is a Nara. Everybody else is a Pashu. Right? It does not matter how we look like. So we are not talking about speciesism here. We don't discriminate between different forms of life. No. It's very simple. That entity, that living entity who can really focus the full consciousness on reaching absolute truth, right? That's a Nara. Everyone else is a Pashu. It does not matter how we look like. It does not matter how sophisticated we live like. It does not matter, what sort of gadgets which we possess. Yeah. So, yes, Shubham?
So you said that once we achieve that Nara state, there is no...
No, once we achieve the Ananda state, there is no. Nara is somebody who is putting efforts towards reaching there. Yeah.
So when all the Atmas were created, so the state is not that, right? You have realized that. Yes.
This question of, when is it created is, it's from the mindset or a preconceived notion that there is a starting point somewhere. Right? You need to really understand that when you speak of eternity, there is no starting point. This is something which is fundamental, which is against how modern science is looking at stuff. Right? So as for modern science, there is a starting point somewhere. It's a linear time which they think about. Right? Our understanding is not a linear time. Our understanding is a cyclical time. Kala is referred as Kala Chakra. Chakra is a cycle. Right? So there is never a point, and this is the first verse which Krishna tells to Arjuna in Gita. There is never a point in which you didn't exist. You always existed, eternally. So now the question, still, when am I created? Come out of it, right? Because when you speak of eternity, this question doesn't make sense. When did it start? It's eternal. There is no beginning, there is no Adi and Antya. Right? So Adi and Antya are non-existing. It's just existing, that's it. That's the meaning of eternity. Yeah. So it's a bit difficult for us because we are hardwired to think, because of our own upbringing, that everything has to have a starting and an end. That's how we have wired ourselves. But just understand that's not how Prakriti works. Prakriti works in cycles, not in linear. There is winter, next whatever. It's just winter. No, that's not how it works. There's winter and there is summer. There is winter, there is summer. So everything around happens in cycles. The entirety of creation happens in cycles. So first you understand that. Once you understand that, then you understand there is a default state of existence for Atma, and that is Sat Chit Ananda. There is a conditioned state of existence for Atma, which we are, right? In which we are conditioned by everything else which is happening, the matter. This is not who we are truly. We are not this. This is something which we possess. We are not this. If this is what we were, I should have been referring this. I am this body. We never tell I am the body. We tell my body. Right? We never tell I am body. We tell my body, which means there is a reference point where I possess this, just like I possess a flower vase, for example, or a house, or a phone, or whatever. Yeah, my phone, my car, my this, my that, which means, yeah, I possess them, but I am not that. This is underlying understanding there. The moment when I tell my car, it's very clear that I possess the car, but I am not the car. I possess the car. It's mine. Similarly, when you tell my body, you have the body, but you are not the body. So then the question is who you are then. Who is that reference point? So seeking that is the goal of life. Who am I? And who am I truly? Am I just this man, woman, whatever? Am I just the engineer or doctor or housewife or whatever? Who am I really? Am I just Indian, Dutch, Chinese, American? Who am I? So that thought process needs to get ignited, and we need to start walking on that path. So what I wanted to touch upon today is this difference in the construct, how one is supposed to be a seeker in Vedic tradition, in this knowledge system. You are given full freedom. It's like Bhrigu was given to go and explore. So whether it's Gita, Upanishads, or the Puranas, or everything, they are not giving you a hard line, just follow this, you will go to hell otherwise. No. Right? That's not what it is. They're giving you a reference manual. Yeah, there is a reference of Bhrigu and Varuna. We have been discussing Krishna and Arjuna in Gita. We have been discussing Parikshit and Shukadev in Srimad Bhagavatam. These are all references. You need to take those references, but you need to have your journey. You can't be having Arjuna's journey. You can't just tell her, yeah, I read Gita, so I know everything. No, you don't know anything. Because that was his journey. You need to have your journey. You need to really seek. At the end of the day, Shubham needs to understand who Shubham is. And just reading Gita, yeah, it's good. Understanding Gita, very good. But ultimately, Shubham needs to go deeper in his own heart and really figure out, who am I?
But isn't that also like the whole point of this story, is that getting closer to like a visceral experience of the definition, and as long as you're not there, you think it's food, you think it's breath, you think it's etc. Because now, otherwise you'll just replace the iPhone you mentioned with some spiritual materialism, thinking, Ananda, that's it. But you don't know what Ananda is until you realize what it is.
So the simplest definition is of Ananda, once you reach, you don't come back. Right? If somebody tells, yeah, I experienced Ananda yesterday, not today, I'm so frustrated, right? That means you really didn't experience it, because somebody who experiences it gets stuck there. They just don't come back. That's the state of existence. It's just once reached, you don't come back. Right? That's the meaning of it. So it's very easy to understand that, right? Many times people think, yeah, there was so much of spiritual bliss yesterday in this kirtan. Yeah, maybe I just scratched the surface a little bit. I got to experience a little bit maybe somewhere, but was not really it. Because today I'm still feeling extremely angry towards that other person. Right? Today I still feel extremely hungry. I still feel extremely whatever. So all these relative experiences, as long as I'm conditioned, I need to understand, I have never really understood what is true spirituality. Thank you for making that note. Good. What's the time? How are we doing with time?
It's 8.
2? Oh, okay, 8:10. Good. Sure. Okay, yes.
So how do we stay motivated in this journey, let's say, because as you say, it's quite hard, right? And we're so conditioned. And so yeah, how to stay positive and motivated?
It has to be an internal quest to begin with, Jai. If it is just blind following, it's very difficult. But if it's an internal quest, you have this as an internal drive, it's very easy then. So that's something which we need to first start getting. Right? We need to, spirituality is not something in which I just do random stuff without thinking. I need to really apply myself. I need to be able to contemplate. I need to be able to really go through systematically in a very scientific, ordered, structured manner. This is really an experiment. An experiment, what is the thing? There is an objective, there are materials, you do this, you get this result, right? That's an experiment. You need to look at spirituality in the exact same way. Now you are the guinea pig yourself, right? So you are the experiment piece. The question on the top level is, who am I? And you need to start practicing, and our practice is something which, perhaps it seems very difficult in the beginning to control the mind and to bring it back and to actually focus on the mantras and really be absorbed in that. But then slowly you will start realizing it's possible. So once you have an inherent drive, it becomes easy. That's what I want to tell you. And if it's just a blind belief that, I see this person doing, that person doing, I also want to do, it's going to be perhaps very difficult. And when it becomes internal, it's just me as the, just look at a child, right? Like somebody who is a toddler, for example. What is their drive? I want to go everywhere. I want to walk, right? It's not that because parents are telling they're walking or they're trying to walk. They want to touch this one, that one, they want to go everywhere. It's their own drive. So no matter how many times they falter, they get up and they start walking again, right? If you have done this also when you were a toddler. You walk a few steps, you fall down, you falter, you get up, you walk again. Oh, I fell down. You may cry a little bit, but then you get up and you walk again. Right? So that's because the child has an inherent drive. It's not because the father is telling or the mother is telling, so the child is walking. No. Right? So try to get that internal drive. It's just inherent to you. And then it's going to become easy. To reach there, you need to put some real efforts in becoming sincere in your daily practice. So in Sanskrit this is referred as dinacharya. You do it every day. So fix a time if possible. Sit down and try to focus on the mantras. And then rest of the day, whatever you are doing, try to perform that as a service. Right? So bhakti ultimately is something which you do not just for yourself, but for the benefit of the Supreme Divinity and for others at the end. So try to be in that consciousness that, maybe you get an opportunity to help your mother, for example. Do it as service. And then whatever you are doing, try to make it spiritualized, Krishnaized. Okay? You don't need to change your circumstances as such. You may think that, if I was in India, it would have been better. No, India has its own problems. You may think, no, if I'm in Mars, maybe it's better. No, Mars has its own problem, right? So don't try to change the circumstances. No matter where you are, just try to see if you can Krishnaize it. Yeah? Some small tips. You need to see what works for you.